The vast emptiness between stars was not empty at all. It was home to the most feared beings in the known universe, the Void Hunters. For thousands of years, these massive dark creatures ruled the galaxy without challenge. They moved through space like silent sharks, feeding on energy and leaving dead worlds in their wake. No one knew where they came from. No one knew how to stop them. All anyone knew was fear. On the bridge of the Pathfinder, Earth's first deep space ship, Commander Jack Thompson stared at the stars through the main viewport. His square jaw was set firm, blue eyes focused on the unknown that waited beyond their solar system. "Final checks complete, Commander. All systems green," said Lisa, her fingers moving quickly across the control panel. As tactical officer, she had spent months preparing for this mission. Jack nodded. "Engineers report." Mark looked up from his station. "Engines at full power. The new jump drive is ready when you are, sir." This was the moment humanity had worked toward for decades. The jump drive would take them farther than any human had ever traveled before. "Begin countdown," Jack ordered. The aliens sitting at the science station shifted uncomfortably. Ben was the first alien to ever visit Earth, sent by the Galactic Council as an ambassador. His gray skin wrinkled around large, worried eyes. "Commander, I must again advise caution," Ben said, his voice a soft whisper. "The jump coordinates you've chosen. That region has seen Void Hunter activity recently." Jack turned to the alien. "We've been over this, Ben. Earth needs to establish itself among the stars. We can't hide forever." "Other species tried that approach," Ben replied. "They are not here to tell their stories." Tom, the ship's xenobiologist, looked up from his studies. "Ben, we've added every safety measure you suggested. The ship runs silent, with minimal energy signatures." Ben's four-fingered hand twitched. "It may not be enough." "You don't understand what." "Jump in 10 seconds," Lisa interrupted. Jack took his seat. "This is why we're out here, Ben. To understand." The stars outside stretched like rubber bands, and the Pathfinder shot forward into the unknown. 3 days later, Jack stood in the same spot. But everything had changed. The excitement of first contact with other alien species had been replaced by tension. "Emergency signal detected," Lisa announced. "It's coming from a transport ship. Looks like a distress call." On the main screen, a bulky cargo vessel tumbled through space. Around it, something moved. Something huge and dark that seemed to bend light around its edges. Ben gasped. "Void Hunter, we must leave now." His voice shook with fear. Jack leaned forward. "What's it doing?" "Feeding," Ben whispered. "It's draining the ship's energy. Soon it will move to the crew." Mark's face paled as he watched. "There are people on that ship." "Not people as you know them," Ben said. "But yes, living beings. And they are doomed. We must flee before we're noticed." Jack turned to Lisa. "Weapons status." Ben jumped to his feet. "Weapons? You cannot attack a Void Hunter. No one does that. We can't just watch them die," Jack said. "That is exactly what we must do," Ben insisted. "For millions of years, all species have learned this lesson. When the hunters feed, you hide." The thing outside moved closer to the transport. Now they could see its shape better, like a giant manta ray made of shadow, with tendrils that reached out to wrap around the ship. Lisa looked at Jack. "Plasma cannons charged, sir. But Ben's right. We have no idea if our weapons will even affect it. And if they do," Ben added, "you might only make it angry." Jack watched as the alien transport's lights flickered and dimmed. He thought of Earth, so new to the stars, unaware of the danger that lurked in the darkness. "If these things are as dangerous as you say, Ben, we need to know if we can fight them." Jack straightened his uniform. "Battle stations. Target those tendrils and fire when ready." Ben sank into his chair. "The Council warned me that humans were different. I didn't understand how different until now." He shook his head slowly. "No species fights the hunters. None." Jack's eyes narrowed as he watched the monster feed. Then it's time someone did. Lisa's finger hovered over the firing control. Ready on your command, sir. Fire. The Pathfinder's cannons lit up the darkness, and humanity announced its arrival to the galaxy's apex predator. Bright blue plasma bolts cut through the darkness of space, striking the shadowy form of the Void Hunter. The creature's massive body shuddered. For a moment, nothing happened. No effect, Lisa reported, her fingers ready on the controls to fire again. Ben covered his eyes. Now we die. But then something unexpected happened. Where the plasma had hit, the hunter's dark skin began to glow. The creature released a silent pulse that rippled through space. It wasn't sound. It was something else, like gravity itself was screaming. It's hurt, Jack said, leaning forward in his chair. Fire again. Target the same spot. Lisa obeyed, sending another volley of plasma fire at the massive predator. This time, the hunter reacted immediately. Its tendrils pulled away from the alien transport ship, writhing like wounded snakes. Impossible, Ben whispered, his large eyes wider than ever. Absolutely impossible. The creature turned toward the Pathfinder, its body moving with surprising speed for something so large. Jack felt a chill run down his spine as he realized they now had its full attention. Evasive maneuvers, he ordered. Mark, give me everything the engines have. The ship lurched as Mark pushed the engines beyond their tested limits. The hunter followed, extending new tendrils toward them. It's faster than us, Lisa said, her voice steady despite the danger. We can't outrun it. Jack studied the creature's movements on the screen. It turned slowly. Lisa, when I give the word, fire all weapons at once and aim for what looks like its head. That's suicide, Ben protested. No one survives a direct confrontation. We're not running, Jack replied. We're hunting. The crew watched as the hunter closed in. When it was almost upon them, Jack gave the command. Now, hard turn to port and fire everything. The Pathfinder banked sharply left while unleashing its full arsenal. The hunter tried to follow but couldn't turn fast enough. The plasma struck what appeared to be its front section, creating a blinding flash of energy. The creature convulsed. Its tendrils flailed wildly. Then, to everyone's amazement, it began to retreat, pulling away from the Pathfinder at high speed. It's running away, Tom said in disbelief, looking up from his scanner. We scared it off. Ben sat frozen in his chair, unable to process what he had just witnessed. In 50,000 years of recorded history, no species has ever driven off a void hunter. Not once. Jack allowed himself a small smile. First time for everything. The alien transport ship was called the Star Drifter. Its captain, a tall being with scales instead of skin, stood in the Pathfinder's meeting room. His name was Grim, and he couldn't stop staring at the humans. You saved my crew, he said in a deep, rumbling voice. But more importantly, you fought a hunter and lived. News of this will spread quickly. How badly was your ship damaged? Jack asked. Repairable, Grim replied. But that is not important. You must understand what you have done. You have changed everything. Lisa entered the room with a datapad. Commander, I've analyzed our weapon effects on the hunter. The plasma didn't just hurt it. It disrupted something in its biology. It's as if our weapons interfered with its ability to process energy. Tom nodded excitedly. That makes sense. If these creatures feed on energy, a sudden overload might be painful or disorienting to them. No other species has weapons like yours. Jack asked Ben. Ben shook his head slowly. Many have plasma weapons, but none have ever affected the hunters this way. There must be something different about your technology, or about you. Grim's scaled face twisted into what might have been a smile. I believe it is both, your weapons and your strategy. You attacked instead of fleeing. You saw patterns in its movements. You hunted the hunter. The council will demand an explanation, Ben said. They will want to know how you did this. Tell them we did what anyone would do, Jack replied. We protected ourselves and others who needed help. Grim made a strange clicking sound that might have been laughter. That is not what anyone would do, human. That is what only you would do. In our galaxy, prey runs from predators. Always. On Earth, Jack said, sometimes the prey fights back. A signal chimed from the communication station. Lisa checked it and looked up with concern. Commander, we're receiving a direct transmission from the Galactic Council. They're ordering us to appear before them immediately. Are we in trouble? Mark asked. Ben's expression was unreadable. I don't know. This is unprecedented. The Council has never dealt with a species that fought the hunters and survived to tell about it. Jack straightened his uniform, set a course for the Council. It's time humanity introduced itself properly to the galaxy. As the Pathfinder changed direction, none of them noticed the distant shadow that followed. A void hunter, watching from afar, learning about this new threat to its dominance. The Galactic Council headquarters was hidden inside a massive asteroid. From the outside, it looked like any other space rock, but inside was a hollow world filled with lights, ships, and aliens from all corners of the galaxy. Jack stared through the Pathfinder's viewport as they approached. You never mentioned the Council lived in an asteroid, Ben. Safety measure, Ben replied. Void hunters rarely attack solid objects. They prefer ships and stations with high energy outputs. A voice crackled over the communication system, giving them docking instructions. Soon, the human crew found themselves walking down a long hallway lined with guards of different species. All eyes were on them, some curious, some afraid. The council chamber was a large round room, with 12 raised seats forming a circle. Each seat held a different alien. Some looked almost human, while others were completely strange. One was a floating cloud of gas contained in a clear bubble. Another seemed made of crystal. In the tallest seat sat High Counselor Rill, a thin being with 4 arms and skin that changed colors as she spoke. Humans of Earth, Rill said, her skin shifting to a deep purple. You stand before us after committing an act without precedent. You engaged a void hunter in combat and survived. The room filled with whispers from the watching crowd. Jack stood straight, with Lisa, Tom, Mark, and Ben behind him. We did what was necessary to save lives, Jack said simply. You don't understand, said another counselor, a bulky creature with thick armor plates. No species fights the hunters, ever. It is the first law of survival in this galaxy. Rill's skin pulsed with blue stripes. For 50,000 years, the hunters have kept all civilizations in check. They appear whenever a species expands too quickly or develops certain technologies. They enforce boundaries. Jack frowned. They're animals. Predators. They don't enforce anything. You are wrong, said the gas cloud counselor, its voice coming through a translator. The hunters show intelligence. They select targets with purpose. They communicate with each other. And they remember those who resist. Tom stepped forward. May I speak, Commander? Jack nodded, and Tom addressed the council. I've been studying the data we collected, he said. I have a theory about why we were able to hurt the hunter when no one else could. It's about evolution. The council members leaned forward with interest. On our world, humans evolved as pursuit predators, Tom explained. We're not the strongest or fastest animal, but we can track prey for days without stopping. We think like hunters. Tom activated a small projector showing images of early humans hunting on the African plains. Looking at the biological data of council species that Ben shared with me, I noticed something. None of your species evolved as pursuit predators. Most evolved from prey animals, or specialized hunters like ambush predators. The crystal being shifted, creating a chiming sound. This is correct. My species evolved from herd grazers. We survived by numbers and running. Same with mine, said another counselor. We hid in burrows and waited for danger to pass. That might explain why our approach was different, Jack said. When we saw danger, our instinct wasn't just to run. It was to understand its weaknesses. Rill's color changed to a deep red. This is most disturbing. You're saying humans are predators like the hunters. No, Lisa cut in. We're saying we understand how predators think because we've been both predator and prey. We had to be smart to survive. The council chamber grew quiet as this idea sank in. Finally, Rill spoke again. Your species presents us with both hope and terror. Hope that the hunters can be fought. Terror that we may have invited a new predator into our midst. Jack met her gaze steadily. We're not here to prey on anyone. We're explorers. So you say, Rill replied. But we must be cautious. Here is our decision. We will provide your species with star charts and communication codes. In exchange, you will share your weapons technology and methods for fighting the hunters. And if we refuse? Jack asked. The entire council changed posture, showing unified tension. Then you would be considered as dangerous as the hunters themselves, Rill said quietly. And we have ways of dealing with threats, Commander. Ben stepped closer to Jack. Take the deal, he whispered. The council rarely offers technology exchange. Jack considered for a moment, then nodded. We accept, with one condition. We want information about the hunters, everything you know about them. Rill's skin rippled with yellow and green. Agreed. But be warned, human. The more you hunt the hunters, the more they will hunt you. And they have ruled this galaxy far longer than your species has existed. As they left the chamber, Tom whispered to Jack, I don't think they're telling us everything. Jack nodded. Of course not. But we'll learn the truth one way or another. Behind them, the council began urgent discussions about the strange new predators from Earth. 1 month after the council meeting, the Pathfinder floated in space near a research station. Inside, Jack stared at the holographic images showing the remains of planets destroyed by void hunters. 23 worlds in the last century alone, he said. All of them had reached a similar level of technology. Ben nodded sadly. Now you understand why the council is so careful about expansion. Push too far, develop too quickly, and the hunters come. Lisa entered the room with new reports. Earth has begun building the defense fleet using the council's technology. First ships should be ready in 6 months. Jack turned to her. That's not fast enough. According to these patterns, the hunters will likely target human colonies soon. They seem to attack any new species that makes waves. Tom and an alien scientist named Lox were working at a large screen across the room. Lox was small with 6 limbs and large eyes that blinked sideways. Commander, Tom called out excitedly. We've made a breakthrough. Everyone gathered around their workstation. On the screen was data from their encounter with the Void Hunter. We've been studying the hunter's response to our weapons, Tom explained. Lox noticed something unusual in the energy readings. Lox pointed a thin finger at the screen. The hunter wasn't just hurt by your plasma. It was confused. Confused? Jack asked. Yes, Tom continued. The hunters communicate using gravity waves, ripples in space itself. Our plasma weapons create a similar wave pattern when they fire, but in a way that's jarring to the hunters. It's like we're shouting nonsense at them in their own language. Mark, who had been quietly working on equipment modifications, looked up. So we're not just hurting them, we're disrupting their senses. Exactly, Lox said. It would be like someone flashing a blinding light in your eyes while making a deafening noise. Jack's eyes narrowed. Can we use this? Make our weapons more effective? Tom nodded. Mark and I have been working on a new weapon system. It creates controlled pulses that mimic and disrupt their communication signals. Like jamming their radar, Lisa said. More like giving them a massive headache, Tom replied. But yes, similar idea. Mark pulled up designs on another screen. We call it the pulse cannon. It won't kill them, but it should drive them away and protect our ships. Jack studied the plans. How soon can we build a working prototype? 2 weeks, Mark said confidently. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message. All screens in the room suddenly showed the face of Captain Grimm. Commander Thompson, Grimm's voice was tense. "We have an emergency. A human colony on Proxima B is under attack. 3 hunters working together. This has never happened before." Jack's face hardened. "How long do they have?" "Hours, at most," Grimm replied. "My ship is nearby, but we can only evacuate a small number." Jack turned to his crew. "Mark, is there any way to get a working version of the pulse cannon ready now? Even a basic version?" Mark thought for a moment. "I could modify our existing plasma cannons to create a similar effect. It won't be as powerful, but it might work." "Do it," Jack ordered. "You have 2 hours." Lisa was already moving to the navigation station. "Course set for Proxima B. We can be there in 4 hours at maximum speed." "Not fast enough," Jack said. He turned to Ben. "You mentioned the Council has emergency jump beacons. We need one." Ben hesitated. "Those are only for Council members in extreme situations." "This qualifies," Jack insisted, "unless you want the first human colony wiped out, which would end our cooperation agreement." Ben nodded reluctantly and made a call to the Council. 3 hours later, the Pathfinder emerged from an emergency jump near Proxima B. The sight that greeted them was terrifying. 3 massive void hunters surrounded the small colony dome on the planet's surface. They were pulling energy from the colony's power core, causing sections to go dark one by one. "Life signs?" Jack asked. 2,000 colonists, Lisa reported. "Power failing in the main habitat section." "Prototype pulse cannon ready," Mark announced, his hands covered in burn marks from rushed work. Jack took his command chair. "This is what we prepared for. Target the nearest hunter and fire when ready." "They outnumber us 3 to 1, Ben warned. Jack's eyes never left the view screen. "Then we better make the first shot count." The modified cannon hummed to life as they descended toward the planet and the waiting hunters. "Humanity's first colony will not fall today," Jack said quietly. "Not while we can fight back." The Pathfinder dove toward the hunters, weapons charged, about to test whether humanity's new understanding of their ancient enemy would be enough to save their people. The Pathfinder dove toward Proxima B, its engines pushing beyond safe limits. The 3 void hunters noticed the approaching ship and one broke away from the colony to intercept. "Hunter approaching," Lisa warned. 30 seconds to contact." Jack looked at Mark. "Is the pulse cannon ready?" Mark nodded, his face tense. "Ready, but untested. We get 1 shot before it needs to cool down." "Make it count," Jack said. Then he opened a channel to the colony. "Proxima Colony, this is Commander Thompson. Hold on. Help is coming." A tired voice answered. "Commander, this is Colony Leader Reed. Our shields are failing. We have children here." "We know," Jack replied. "We're engaging the hunters now." The approaching hunter spread wide, its massive shadow-like body blocking their path to the planet. It was bigger than the one they had fought before, nearly twice the size. "Fire," Jack ordered. The pulse cannon lit up. Instead of the usual bright plasma beam, it fired a strange rippling wave that distorted space itself. The wave hit the hunter dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the hunter convulsed violently, its body twisted and contorted. The tendrils it had extended toward the Pathfinder jerked back. "It's working," Tom shouted. The hunter retreated, moving erratically like a wounded animal. But the victory was short-lived. The other 2 hunters immediately left the colony and moved toward the Pathfinder. "They're protecting each other," Lisa said with surprise. "They're actually working as a team." "Cannon needs 5 minutes to cool down," Mark reported. Jack's mind raced. "We can't fight 2 at once." "Lisa, plot an escape vector." "No," Ben said suddenly. "Look." On the view screen, new ships appeared from jump points around the planet. 5, then 10, then 20 ships of different designs. "It's the Council fleet," Ben exclaimed. They came. The lead ship was Captain Grimm's. His voice came through the comm system. "Sorry we're late, humans. The council took some convincing. The fleet formed a protective barrier around the colony. Some of the largest ships fired their own weapons at the hunters. While none had the specialized pulse cannon, their combined firepower was enough to keep the creatures at bay. "They're retreating," Lisa announced as the hunters began to pull away from the planet. Jack couldn't believe it. All of them. Just like that. Tom studied his readings. They're not used to coordinated resistance. For millions of years, they've attacked isolated targets. As the hunters disappeared into the darkness of space, cheers erupted from the colony below and across the communication channels from the fleet. Captain Grimm's ship moved alongside the Pathfinder. "Your colony is safe, Commander, but this is just the beginning." 3 months later, Jack stood in a new command center on Earth. Around him, screens showed the status of the growing human-led defense fleet. Ships from various council races were now regularly training with human captains. Lisa entered with new reports. "We've had 7 more encounters with hunters in the last month. Each time, they've retreated when faced with coordinated resistance. They're learning," Jack noted, "adapting their tactics." "So are we," Lisa replied. "Mark's new pulse cannons are being installed on all major ships now." Tom and Lox joined them, looking excited. "Commander," Tom said, "we've been analyzing the attack patterns of the hunters over the past 50,000 years, using the Council's historical records." He brought up a star map showing hunter attacks across the galaxy, color-coded by time period. "We found something strange," Lox continued. "The hunters aren't just random predators. They follow specific patterns." Jack studied the map. "What kind of patterns?" "They allow civilizations to develop to certain technological levels, then attack," Tom explained. "It's almost like they're farming the galaxy." "Farming?" Lisa asked. Lox nodded. "They let species develop until they produce enough energy, then harvest them. It's calculated and deliberate." The room fell silent as this information sank in. "So they're not just animals," Jack said finally. "They're intelligent farmers, and we're the livestock." "We're the livestock," Lisa corrected. "Now we're fighting back." Ben, who had been quietly listening, stepped forward. "There's something else you should know. The oldest council records mention another civilization called the Precursors. They existed before any current species. What happened to them?" Jack asked. "Unknown," Ben replied. "But there are hints they might have encountered the hunters first, or possibly created them." Jack looked back at the star map, his eyes finding Earth's small point of light. "Then we need to find these precursors, or what's left of them," he decided. "If they created the hunters, they might know how to stop them for good." The hunt was about to enter a new phase, not just for survival, but for answers hidden in the ancient past of the galaxy. The search for the precursors took 6 months. Jack and his crew followed fragments of star maps and ancient stories collected from a dozen worlds. The Pathfinder, now upgraded with the best technology from both Earth and the Council, pushed deeper into unexplored space. "This has to be it," Tom said as they approached a small dark star. "All the old records point to this system." Around the dying star orbited 7 planets. 6 were gas giants, but the 7th, closest to the star, was small and rocky. "Scanning the planet now," Lisa reported. "It's dead. No atmosphere. Extreme radiation from the star." "Any signs of civilization?" Jack asked. Lisa adjusted the sensors. "Wait, I'm picking up something. Structures beneath the surface. Massive chambers. Someone built an underground world down there." Jack nodded. "Take us in. Carefully." The landing team consisted of Jack, Tom, Mark, and Ben. They wore heavy radiation suits as they explored a massive doorway built into the side of a mountain. The door was partly open, as if waiting for them. "This material," Mark said, examining the walls. "I've never seen anything like it. Our scanners can't even identify it." They entered a vast chamber filled with strange machines. The ceiling was hundreds of meters high, and intricate patterns covered every surface. "It's beautiful," Ben whispered. Tom approached what looked like a control panel. This technology is beyond anything the Council has. Look at these power readings. Some systems are still active after what must be millions of years. Can you understand any of it? Jack asked. Tom shook his head. Not yet, but I'm detecting energy patterns similar to the Void Hunters. We're definitely in the right place. Mark had wandered to another section of the chamber. Commander, I found something. They joined him at a wall covered in images. The images told a story. Beings that looked something like tall, thin humans creating large shadow creatures. The precursors, Ben said in awe. And they did create the hunters. But why? Jack wondered. Tom studied the next set of images. According to this, they were fighting a war against something. He pointed to strange spiral shapes attacking precursor worlds. They created the hunters as weapons. Weapons that turned on their creators, Mark added, pointing to the final images showing hunters attacking precursor cities. Jack moved deeper into the chamber, where a single pedestal stood in the center. On it rested a small device about the size of his hand. What's this? He asked, as the others joined him. Tom scanned it carefully. It's some kind of controller, still powered after all this time. A weapon, Mark suggested. No, Tom said. More like a signal device. I think it was meant to control the hunters. Jack reached for it, but Ben stopped him. Be careful, the alien warned. If this is what destroyed the precursors were destroyed by their own creation, Jack said. Maybe this was meant to stop them. He picked up the device. It hummed to life, glowing with a soft blue light. Tom linked his scanner to it. I think I can interface with this. Give me some time. As Tom worked, a loud alarm suddenly blared through the chamber. Red lights flashed along the walls. What did you do? Jack asked. Nothing, Tom said. This is some kind of automated system. I think we triggered it when we activated the device. Lisa's voice came urgently through their communicators. Commander, we're detecting multiple jump signatures near Earth. It's the hunters, dozens of them, all heading for our home system. Jack stared at the device. They know. Somehow they know we found this place. We have to get back, Mark said. Warn Earth. There's no time, Lisa replied. The attack has already begun. Tom looked up from his work. I think I understand what this does now. It doesn't destroy the hunters. It was meant to reset them, to fix whatever went wrong with their programming. Can you make it work? Jack asked. Tom's face was grave. Yes, but we need to be much closer to Earth. This has limited range. Then we go now, Jack decided. Maximum speed back to Earth. As they raced back to the ship, Ben asked the question on everyone's mind. What if we're too late? Jack looked at the small device, their one hope against a swarm of hunters. Then humanity will do what it always does, fight to the last breath. They reached the Pathfinder and launched immediately, pushing the engines beyond safety limits. Behind them, the ancient precursor facility continued its alarm, warning of a danger that had first appeared millions of years ago and was now heading straight for Earth. Earth was under siege. 37 void hunters surrounded the planet, their massive shadow bodies blocking out the stars. The human defense fleet fought bravely, joined by ships from the Galactic Council. But they were overwhelmed. The Pathfinder emerged from its emergency jump on the edge of the solar system. The scene before them was chaos, destroyed ships, emergency beacons, and the dark forms of the hunters moving toward Earth. Multiple pulse cannons firing, Lisa reported. They're slowing the hunters but can't stop this many. How long until planetary shields fail? Jack asked. Hours at most, Lisa replied. They're draining power faster than we can generate it. Jack turned to Tom. Is the device ready? Tom had spent the entire journey studying the precursor technology. I think so. But we need to get closer, within Earth's orbit. That means going right through the hunters. Mark pointed out. Jack's face hardened. Then that's what we'll do. Captain Grimm's voice came over the communication system. Commander Thompson, we detected your arrival. The situation is dire. We found something, Grimm, Jack replied. A precursor device that might control the hunters. But we need to get closer to Earth. I'll gather what ships I can to open a path for you, Grimm promised. The Pathfinder accelerated toward Earth, joined by Grimm's ship and a dozen others. They formed a wedge formation with the Pathfinder in the center. As they approached, 3 hunters broke away from Earth to intercept them. The escort ships fired their pulse cannons, creating a corridor for the Pathfinder. Now, Grimm shouted over the comm. Go while we hold them. The Pathfinder shot forward, engines burning beyond safety limits. 2 hunters moved to block them. A direct hit from one knocked out their shields. Weapons offline. Lisa reported as the ship shook violently. Hull breach on deck 3. Keep going, Jack ordered. Get us to activation range. Tom worked frantically with the precursor device at his station. Almost there. The device is powering up, but it needs more energy. Divert all remaining power to it, Jack commanded, including life support if necessary. Mark hesitated. Sir, that would give us only minutes of air. Then let's make those minutes count, Jack replied. The Pathfinder limped past the last hunter defense, taking heavy damage. Finally, they reached Earth orbit. We're in range, Tom announced. Activating now. The precursor device hummed to life, glowing brighter and brighter, but nothing seemed to happen. The hunters continued their attack. It's not working, Ben said, despair in his voice. Lisa studied her readings. The hunters are still draining Earth's power. Maybe the device needs more energy than we can provide. Jack looked at the small blue planet below them, his home. Then he made a decision. Target Earth's main power distribution center, he ordered. Sir, Lisa questioned. If we can't power the device, maybe Earth can. Create a power surge through our communication beam directly to the device. That would cause blackouts across the planet, Mark warned. Better than the alternative, Jack replied grimly. Lisa sent the command. Across Earth, lights flickered and went out as power was redirected. The precursor device absorbed the energy, glowing brighter than ever. Suddenly, it released a pulse that spread outward in all directions. The pulse was invisible to the human eye, but they could see its effect on the hunters. Every one of them froze in place. It worked, Tom exclaimed. But it wasn't over. The hunters didn't retreat. Instead, they changed. The darkness of their bodies lightened, becoming translucent. Through the ship's sensors, they could now see complex patterns of energy flowing within them. They're transforming, Tom said in wonder. The largest hunter moved toward the Pathfinder. Everyone tensed, but instead of attacking, it extended a tendril that gently touched the hull. Lisa gasped. We're receiving a transmission from the hunter. Put it through, Jack ordered. No words came through, but instead images and feelings, confusion, recognition, and something like gratitude. I don't understand, Ben said. Tom studied the readings. The device didn't destroy them. It reset them. The precursors created them as protectors, not destroyers. Something corrupted their programming millions of years ago. Through the mental link, the hunter showed them images of partnership, of working together with the precursors before something went wrong. They want to help us, Jack realized, to return to their original purpose. Days later, as Earth recovered, Jack stood in the new council chamber hastily established on the moon. Representatives from all species gathered to witness the historic agreement between humans and the reformed hunters. Ben approached Jack, still looking amazed. You did the impossible. You changed the apex predators into allies. Jack shook his head. We just reminded them of what they were meant to be. Grimm joined them, his scaled face showing what might have been a smile. The stars are open to us all now. No more hiding. No more boundaries. "What will your people do first?" then asked Jack. Jack looked up at the stars visible through the chamber's transparent dome. "What humans have always done. Explore, learn, and maybe teach the rest of the galaxy that sometimes the best way to face a predator isn't to run, but to understand it." Grim finished. Above them, a hunter glided peacefully through space, no longer a threat, but a guardian of the galaxy it once terrorized. The universe had found a new balance, with humanity at its center.